welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History. If you don't know me, I'm Claire Ridgway and I write Tudor history books as well as running the Tudor Society, which is a membership site and produces a Tudor-focused magazine called Tudor Life magazine. And I also run the Anne Boleyn Files website, which I've been doing since 2009, so lots of Tudor history in my life, which is my joy. Okay, today's On This Day in Tudor History is taking you back to the reign of King Henry VIII. But I'm travelling back in time to 1540, the 10th of June 1540. For it was on this day that Thomas Cromwell, who was Earl of Essex by this time, Lord Great Chamberlain, Lord Privy Seal, and of course Henry VIII's right-hand man, well, former right-hand man perhaps, and his fixer, the person that managed to fix all of Henry VIII's problems until it came to the Anne of Cleves marriage. Well, Thomas Cromwell was arrested during a Privy Council meeting at Westminster on this day. Poor Cromwell. In a letter to Anne, Duke de Montmorency, Charles de Marillac, who was the French ambassador, wrote of Thomas Cromwell's arrest. To commence with the day of his taking in the council chamber of the King's House at Westminster. As soon as the captain of the guard declared his charge to make him prisoner, Cromwell, in a rage, cast his bonnet on the ground, saying to the Duke of Norfolk and others of the Privy Council assembled there that this was the reward of his services, and that he appealed to their consciences as to whether he was a traitor. But since he was treated thus, he renounced all pardon, as he'd never thought to have offended, and only asked the king not to make him languish long. Thereupon, some said he was a traitor, others that he should be judged according to the laws he had made, which were so sanguinary that often words spoken inadvertently with good intention had been constituted high treason. The Duke of Norfolk, having reproached him with some villainies done by him, snatched off the order of St. George which he bore on his neck, and the Admiral, to show himself as great an enemy in adversity as he had been thought a friend in prosperity, untied the garter. Then, by a door which opens upon the water, he was put in a boat and taken to the Tower, without the people of this town suspecting it until they saw all the king's archers under Mr. Cheney at the door of the prisoner's house, where they made an inventory of his goods, which were not of such value as people thought, although too much for a compagnon de telle estoffe, a companion of such stuff. The money was £7,000 sterling, equal to 28,000 crowns, and the silver plate, including crosses, chalices, and other spoils of the church, might be as much more. These movables were before night taken to the king's treasury, a sign that he will not be restored. Now, Marillac went on to say how on the 11th of June, several letters he wrote to or received from the Lutheran lords of Germany were found, and that the king was thereby so exasperated against him that he would no longer hear him spoken of, but rather desired to abolish all memory of him as the greatest wretch ever born in England. Marillac reported how Henry VIII then began distributing Cromwell's offices and ordered that Cromwell should now only be referred to as Thomas Cromwell Shearman and not by any titles or officers. Now, Marillac's account of Cromwell's arrest is very poignant. Cromwell is speaking up for himself, defending himself in front of the King's Council. But even those who don't call him traitor are saying that he should be judged according to the laws that he'd brought in, laws that had brought other people down even though they were innocent. These are very nasty and telling words. And then, of course, we have his Order of the Garter, his badge and his garter being taken off him. You're not worthy to be a Knight of the Garter anymore. And of course, him being taken off to the Tower, his goods being inventoried, which pretty much showed that he was never going to get them back. Now, the Spanish Chronicles account of Cromwell's arrest has his, and the Spanish Chronicle, by the way, is a real tabloid, and it is not very accurate, but it does give a story of Cromwell's bonnet being blown off before his arrest, something which Cromwell takes for a bad omen. As usual, they all went to the Parliament at Westminster, and when they came out and were going to the palace to dinner, the wind blew off the secretary's bonnet, and it fell on the ground. The custom of the country is, when a gentleman loses his bonnet, for all those who are with him to doff theirs. But on this occasion, when Cromwell's bonnet blew off, all the other gentlemen kept theirs on their heads, which, being noticed by him, he said, "A high wind indeed must it have been to blow my bonnet off, and keep all yours on." They pretended not to hear what he said, and Cromwell took it for a bad omen. Wow. That would be a bad omen if it was the tradition for everyone to take theirs off, and they don't. It shows they don't respect you and that you are on your way out. Now, a bill of attainder was passed against Cromwell on the 29th of June 1540 for the crimes of corruption, heresy and treason. Now, if you've watched my videos on Catherine Howard and Jane Boleyn, and therefore you'll know that a bill of attainder was sort of an act of Parliament. Parliament was finding you guilty of treason rather than there being the need for a trial. Cromwell was executed on the 28th of July 1540, the same day that Henry VIII married his fifth wife, Catherine Howard. Now, Cromwell, there were lots of factors in his fall, far too many for me to go into now, but he did fail at getting Henry VIII out of marrying Anne of Cleves. Henry really did not want to marry Anne of Cleves after their disastrous first meeting and wanted Cromwell to get him out of it. But Cromwell failed to do that, and he was forced to marry her, and then Cromwell didn't manage to get him out of the marriage very quickly. So that was a huge factor in what happened in 1540. Henry VIII felt very let down by the man who usually fixed everything for him. Now, Marignac reported, this is Marignac who gave us the account a few minutes ago, he reported that the king reproached his council for using false accusations to bring down Cromwell, so he spoke of his regret. He complained that they made him put to death the most faithful servant he ever had. So Henry VIII put all the blame for him actually going ahead with the execution of Thomas Cromwell in 1540 on his councils because of their false accusations. So he didn't take the blame for Cromwell's death. I find it very sad that while his former good servant, faithful servant, was being executed and being butchered, really, his execution didn't go well, that Henry VIII was enjoying getting married to his new woman, the young Catherine Howard. So that was on this day in Tudor history. Back in 1540, we have the arrest of Thomas Cromwell. You can subscribe to this channel by clicking around about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as new videos go live. And if you've enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like. Judd, who is lying by my feet, my big dog, didn't enjoy it. She's now snoring away, so I lulled her to sleep. So, oh dear, hope I didn't lull you to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.